Right, so here I am in my house, and I've got this. Looks kind of like to me like a paper doll or a stick figure. It doesn't really have any dimension or depth to it, which makes it look pretty cheesy. So what I'd like to do is make this have a little more depth, and by that I mean I'm going to do this. I'm going to add what we might call a trim piece. Most windows have some kind of what we call a casing around them. And so I kind of make that rectangle doubled, and then I grab my push-pull tool, make sure I'm highlighting the right thing, and I might, oh, that's quite a bit. I'm going to put in 2 down here, which should give it 2 inches when I go enter. And if I come back to my rotate tool, you can see that now that piece of trim is sticking out just a few inches and gives it some more depth. So you'll see me do that on most of the rest of the doors and windows and such, and I'll probably fast forward this so you don't have to watch me in slow motion do this because it'll probably be painful for you. All right, so you may have noticed that I did a few things while I was giving dimension or depth to these trim boards here. I added what looks like maybe a little bit of a doorknob there on the door, and I added a round window up here in the attic area. Just because square windows are kind of lame, eventually we want our house to look kind of cool and stylish. So we added those things. One more thing you might have noticed is I added a little trim board here, and looks like I didn't even give that thing the depth that I was hoping for. So I'll zoom out again. I'm using my roller here to zoom out, and click on that guy. Same thing, 2. And no, I guess I got to start pulling it and then say 2. And then it gives me that nice look of like a corner board, what they call that in a house. So a little bit trickier doing it on the end here, but I'm going to show you a hack for doing that. There's a thing here called a measuring tape or tape measure. You might have to go all the way down to these 3 dots to find it. All right, so now if I want to put boards around the edge of this house, and this is a little more advanced, but they give us this nice tool over here called the tape measure. And if I click on an edge of a wall and pull out, and down in the bottom corner I type 6, it'll give me this dotted imaginary line. It's not a real line yet, it's just giving me a suggestion of where that line should be based on my request for it to be 6 inches off of here. So I do it from all of these edges. I get that little red square there. I click. Oh, you know what I think I did is I actually got my, oh, no, there it goes. I thought I might have had the chimney there. So from each one of these corners here, I move out a little bit. I type in a 6. And I think I'll even do it from the bottom here. Click here. Oops, that's interesting. Didn't mean that to happen. Uh-oh. Let's go back one. Looks like I might have to do this again. And again, I'm probably going to have to use my orbit tool to try and get things where I need to be able to see them. Come back to my tape measure tool. Get that red square, move this way, type a 6. And I'll do the same thing here. Come on, why don't we get out? How do I get that square? There, red square. Red square is your friend. I think what's happening is I'm accidentally right-clicking here. So if I click here and I move up, come on, you stinker. Type a 6. So now I've got all these imaginary lines here, which is pretty nice. Let's see if I can. Panning allows me to move the whole thing over. It was getting kind of stuck in my materials over here. So this guy here with this finger that allows you to move things left and right and up and down is handy, as well as your orbit tool, which allows you to go this way and that way as well. See, look at my front, all nice and dimensioned and whatnot. So anyway, I have all these imaginary lines here, or dotted lines, whatever you want to call them. Now when I use my pencil tool, man, it's going to be perfect. It's going to follow those dotted lines exactly. Look for that word intersection if you can. Come on, intersection. And that's going to save you all sorts of awkwardness later, because basically we're turning this into one giant work plane. By the way, now, and I'm using my roller to zoom out a little bit, I don't need these dotted lines anymore. I'm going to click on this eraser tool and get rid of them all. Be careful you don't erase stuff you want to keep, but I don't need those lines for reference anymore. So, let me see. Oops, get my orbit tool. All right, I've got that rectangle there, but it's still flat. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit, grab my push-pull tool, and you can see right now that that whole area, the border around the edge of that end of the house, is that nice dotted color. And I can pull this out really far, but I'm not going to. We were using 2 inches before as our standard. And now when I orbit, look at that, my trim boards, what this would be called the rake board, this would be called the corner board. This is the casing of your window, or casing of a window here. This is a door jamb or a door casing. So we've really given this house some depth and some personality. I could even go with a board across the top here, but I'm worried that it might get involved with my door casing here. But I think with the skills that I've shown you, you could do that. Heck, you could even, if you wanted to, have some borders around your chimney and give your chimney some flash and flare. Uh, at this point, if you wanted to just stop here, I'm okay with that. But now that you've learned how to use these invisible lines with the tape measure and how to pull your trim out to make it a little more interesting, if you want to spend another 5 or 10 minutes and you want to spruce up your chimney, if you want to, I don't know, maybe put some windows on this side of your house or the back of the house, etc. But I don't want to spend too much more time on this tutorial. I just want you to make sure that you have at least some of your boards around the perimeter of the house, some of your window casings and your door, uh, with some depth to them, so that when we go to decorate it, it'll look a whole lot better. All right, but that's about all I'm looking for from you, and then you can go on to activity 4 if you show this to your teacher.